Welcome to the Scottish Rite Journal podcast, an audio presentation of the Scottish Rite Journal, brought to you by the Supreme Council of the Scottish Rite, Southern Jurisdiction, Mother Supreme Council of the World. This week's article is Masonic Light on Enoch and the Book of Enoch by Keith Peterson, 32nd degree, KCCH, and comes from the January-February 2023 issue of the Scottish Rite Journal. Within most branches of Western Judaism and Christianity, the person of Enoch is something of a mystery. What is known about this biblical personage comes from Genesis chapter 5, verses 21 through 24, which emphasizes Enoch's old age and especially his closeness to the divine. And all the days of Enoch were 365 years, and Enoch walked with God, and he was not, for God took him. Genesis chapter 5, verses 23 and 24. There are, however, other ancient books about Enoch, namely the Book of Enoch, also known as 1 Enoch, as well as 2 Enoch and 3 Enoch. In addition, there are several associated books, including the Book of Giants, the Book of Jasher, and the Book of Jubilees. In this article, we will investigate the ancient Book of Enoch, 1 Enoch, and the connections of Enochian tradition in Freemasonry. As we will see, the Book of Enoch has correspondences to the Masonic third degree as well as other portions of Masonic ritual. A first glance at the Book of Enoch raises more questions than answers. Fantastical stories of giants and demi-angels, as well as the unconventional structure of the work assembled from a variety of earlier sources, have resulted in the book being excluded from most canons of Scripture as apocryphal, although it is considered scriptural in a few branches of Ethiopian and Eritrean Christianity and Judaism. Indeed, for several centuries, the Western world thought the Book of Enoch had been lost. It was rediscovered in Ethiopia in the early 1800s. While the book is not something heard in most churches or synagogues today, the Book of Enoch is of interest as it offers some intriguing parallels to Masonry. We step off where every Mason has, in the Blue Lodge. While Enoch's mentions in the context of the Masonic Blue Lodge are sparse, the correspondences to our ritual to the Book of Enoch are palpable, most notably to Enoch chapter 10, verse 19. And all desirable trees shall be planted on it, and they shall plant vines on it, and the vine which they plant thereon shall yield wine in abundance. And as for all the seed which is sown thereon, each measure shall bear 1,000, and each measure of olives shall yield 10 presses of oil. Even the newest of fellowcraft can see the link between this chapter verse and the wages they have received in the form of corn, oil, and wine. Yet to note the very first allusion to the fellowcraft in the Book of Enoch, one must go almost to the beginning and read Enoch chapter 2, verse 1. Observe ye everything that takes place in the heaven. They do not change their orbits. And the luminaries which are in the heaven, how they all rise and set in order, each in its season, and transgress not against their appointed order. This astronomical lesson is readily apparent in the Fellowcraft's staircase lecture, and, one may argue, a fundamental representation of the rotation of officers in a lodge. In the Book of Enoch, we likewise notice several striking parallels with the Masonic third degree. Chapter 12 in its entirety could be interpreted as the Hiram narrative. Chapter 12 begins, "Before these things Enoch was hidden. No one of the children of men knew where he was hidden, and where he abode, and what had become of him," which may call to mind the hidden grave of Hiram Abiff to Master Masons. The ending of chapter 12, "The murder of their beloved ones shall they see, and over the destruction of their children shall they lament, and shall make supplication unto eternity, but mercy and peace shall ye not attain," can likewise remind the Freemason of the exhumation of the widow's son and the lack of attainment of that which has been lost to a future generation. Chapter 13, verse 3 and 4. "Then I went and spoke to them all together, and they were all afraid, and fear and trembling seized them. And they besought me to draw up a petition in the presence of the Lord of heaven, bears a resemblance to the 12 condemned fellowcraft accused of murdering Hiram Abiff." Additionally, the Book of Enoch subtly expresses the most fundamental of Masonic principles, that of light. The 3 parables inherent in the text begin and end with light, notations that are indeed ancient and early references to light in the Judeo-Christian tradition. It would appear that just as with Freemasonry, the concept of light is fundamental to the journey of Enoch. When examining the Book of Enoch, however, it should be noted that in his article, The Secrets of Enoch in the Masonic Tradition, Scottish Rite Journal, July-August 2013, Masonic scholar Arturo de Hoyos, 33rd degree, Grand Cross, Grand Archivist, and Grand Historian, cautions us that Enochian traditions that may be seen in Masonic ritual descend from several variants found in multiple sources. The references to the legendary character of Enoch in Scottish and York Rite Masonry are more direct than the symbolic correspondences to the Book of Enoch. The Vault of Enoch plays a fundamental role in the ritual work for both appendant bodies, as is the Scottish Rite Journal. We will pursue how this is presented in the 13th degree of the Scottish Rite in the voice of Dr. Rex Hutchins from A Bridge to Light. Masonic tradition tells us that God, seeing in Enoch a man of perfect virtue, elected to reveal to him his true name. After receiving it in a dream, Enoch's vision continued, and he was conveyed vertically through 9 arches into a subterranean vault which contained a triangular plate of gold, upon which was written the name of God. Enoch took the dream as a sign from God, and after a long journey through Canaan, or the Holy Land, he excavated 9 apartments vertically into the earth, each covered with an ark, the lowest hewn out of solid rock. In this apartment, he placed an alabaster pedestal and mounted it upon a cube of agate, into one side of which he had sunk a triangular plate of gold inscribed with the name of deity, thus fulfilling the purpose of his vision. Above the apartments, he built a modest temple of unhewn stones with a secret passage into the apartments with a ring through it. The Bible provides us with the reason for the unhewn stones, for God decreed his altars to be such. If thou wilt make me an altar of stone, thou shalt not build it of hewn stone, for if thou lift up thy tool upon it, thou hast polluted it. Exodus chapter 20, verse 25. According to Scottish Rite lore of the 13th degree, Enoch, the great-grandfather of Noah, knew of the great flood that would deluge the world in Noah's time, and made antediluvian preparations that the vault would be closed and protected in the coming flood. This legend involving Enoch is continued in the Scottish Rite 14th degree, Perfect Elu, which presents the vault of Enoch a vertical orientation, which is emblematic of Enoch's spiritual ascent to God. In York Rite Masonry, the pillars of Enoch, presumably the pillars stabilizing the vault, are as important, though not nearly as referenced, as the pillars of Solomon. For within the pillars of Enoch are stored all the knowledge of the antediluvian world as well as the secrets to the 7 liberal arts and sciences. Yet arguably the most important role Enoch's vault plays in Masonic ritual and lore is that within it lies the cubical stone that bears the ineffable name of God. Given that Enoch was chosen by God to ascend with him to heaven in living form, it would have seemed natural for him to have been bestowed with God's unique name. As we have seen, the Book of Enoch offers numerous interesting parallels to Masonic ritual. In biblical, apocryphal, and Masonic tradition, Enoch was a righteous man, whose eyes were opened by God. Book of Enoch, chapter 1, verse 2. Thus, according to the York and Scottish Rite ritual, he was favored to discover the vault and learn the true name of God. Indeed, Enoch's name in the Hebrew language means the initiator. Enoch, the man of character who walked with God, initiates Masons into greater light, both in the Book of Enoch and Masonic ritual. Like and share this article, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. If you wish to comment, please leave one, and as a reminder, hit the notifications bell. Any accompanying photographs or citations for this article can be found in the corresponding print edition. The Scottish Rite Journal is published by the Supreme Council of the Scottish Rite, Southern Jurisdiction, Mother Supreme Council of the World. Mark Dreisenstock, 32nd degree, KCCH, Managing Editor. I'm your host, Matt Bowers.